Okay. So, fully expect a few more people to show up, but for now, we'll just go with what we have. I am going to be doing a little demo, but if you guys want to start, like, do you have anything that you want to share? Or I have a couple things I'd like to share, but I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll share. Well, I wish I could see what's going on here. Because we were talking last time about making parament,
Yes.
and I've been working on another set of paraments for this church, and this time it's Pentecost.
Oh, okay.
And so it had to have the dove and flames
Excuse me
and
1 second. Let me just shut my door. Hi. Okay, sorry about that.
so
Yes.
I don't know if you can see this or not.
You're frozen at the moment.
Okay, I'm gonna try going to another room and see
Okay,
if I can get any better.
okay.
Give me a second here. I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay.
And we have Debbie joining us. Hi, Debbie. I like your screensaver.
Yeah, my fur kids always, yes. How are
Yeah,
you?
yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I've been loving watching the adventures of your dogs.
Yeah, the wild and crazy one.
Yeah. The devil child, isn't that what you call her? Or
That's
him?
it, right, the devil child.
Okay, so we have Becky who started to share, but she's having connection difficulties, so she's looks like she's going to try and rejoin from a different location. I don't know. Um, Debbie, do you have anything that you would like to share with us visually?
Unfortunately, I just finished packing everything up to go to a show in a couple weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're just here for the camaraderie and to see
I
what
can.
okay. So I guess while we're waiting for Becky,
I'm back. Let's see.
but I still have no visual of you. Oh, there you are.
I'm here
And it's better.
and
Yeah.
I'm moving. Okay.
All right, carry on, my dear.
Okay, so last time we talked about parament.
Yep, I'm
And
gonna
so this is the pulpit cloth that I
oh,
did
beautiful.
for them.
Wow.
And it's really fun because of the doves flying. They wanted the dove um, descending.
Mm-hmm.
Then they wanted it looking like it was dive bombing. My doves don't descend that way.
Yeah, well,
So, but
it looks
I'm
good with the design.
giving them the descending dove at the bottom of it. So that's the shape of the descending dove.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool.
So working with committees, Sarah, is like, seriously.
Yeah.
So I made this side. This is the altar cloth.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So I have my descending dove, and then I have all my flames.
Are you going to quilt that or no?
Yes,
Yes. Oh, that's a lot to quilt. Woo.
yes, it is. But they wanted this descending dove.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, there's two sides to the altar, front and the back. So I gave them a descending dove,
Hmm.
and then I've got the flames on the bottom.
Love it. What did you use for the flames? It looks sort of reflective.
Um, on the other one, I used metallic threads.
Okay.
I quilted the flames already,
Yeah.
and I just have to do the background.
Okay. Did
And
you
then
have,
the back side is fun because it's,
oh, gorgeous. Yeah.
yeah. I
Nice.
thought, well, they could actually use that for like an autumn thing if they
Yeah.
wanted to.
Right. Beautiful.
So I still have the pastor stole and the deacon stole to do, but working with committees. Oh my gosh.
You know, I got to share a quick story. I did Torah covers for a temple in Winston-Salem here many years ago. And one of the things I put in my contract, because I always do a contract, is I have to have carte blanche on the design.
Yeah, that's coming up on mine.
Because I just said, the only reason I'm interested in doing this is because I want it to look a certain way, and I will work with the colors that you want and that kind of thing. I will work with you, but if I don't think anything's going to work with my design, I nix it. I just say, no, that's not going to work for me. So, but anyway,
So the question I had asked you about your quilt, about these panels,
yeah.
isn't that they copied yours, is that they took their computer, they made lines on it, they filled it in with colors, sent it off to the printer, got a single panel back and quilted.
Who did this?
This is happening at shows
Oh, okay.
and they're winning awards, but there's no piecing involved.
Yeah.
And I just wondered how you felt about that because you do the same style, but you actually piece it together.
Yeah, but is it the artist who's copying their own work?
Yeah, they're making their own work, but it's like they're using
Oh,
a
okay.
panel. They're
Oh, I
making,
gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, they're
they
digitally
make a panel.
manipulating it and they're printing it on fabric and then they're quilting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Well, I think, are you by any chance referring to Carol's work?
I don't know if it's Carol's or not. I'm just seeing it at several shows,
Okay,
different people.
okay. Well, in her case, I would say go for it because she's made many, many, many pieced quilts in that style. And now she's just reproducing digital drawings that she's done. So it's her original work and then she's
Right.
printing it and then, it's all her artwork.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with that, but I have a problem with, I don't know, I don't have a problem with it. I just, I don't know. I think there's a place for it. I think it should be maybe judged in a different category.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like as a pre-printed panel or something.
Maybe, yes,
Mm-hmm.
like that rather than pieced. And, because obviously pieced is technically more difficult and time consuming and all of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I just wonder because I look at your pieces and you do that same improv kind of
yeah,
patterning,
yeah,
but and quilt it, and there look there's a lot of similarities, but the other one is just one piece that somebody stitches over top of the colors,
right.
and they can program that into a computer for those, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm looking at that going, where's the artistry in this, other
yeah.
than you can use a computer well?
Well, I guess in the original drawing, but I don't know. I don't know how they did it, so I
Mm-hmm.
can't speak to that. But I would say maybe a different category of judging.
Yeah, I think to me, that's where it's got to go.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So is there anything else you want to share with us?
Mm-mm.
Okay, thanks for coming and sharing that with us. This
I'm gonna
beautiful
have to
work.
leave early. I did something to my shoulder,
Okay, I'm
like
sorry.
rotary cuff tear stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm doing PT and it starts at noon today.
gotcha. Okay. Well,
So I'm rudely eating.
should I go ahead and do the demo?
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Is everybody else here?
Well, I have two other people here. I
I
have,
can't see either of them. They're
okay. Yeah, their screen is not, their camera is not on at the moment, but they are here. They're watching. They
hi
just
Debbie, hi
prefer
Kathy.
not to show themselves at the moment. Okay, so I am going to go over to my phone camera and I'm just going to do a real simple demo. Some of the stuff you may already know, some of it you may not, but people have been curious how I've been exploring using Inktense and then
Mhm.
making that course out of it. So I will go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm going to switch over.
There we go.
Yeah. And And I'm gonna pin myself so it's nice and big. How's that look? Good?
Looks good. I can see it.
Okay, let me get the paper towels out of the way. Okay, so what I have here is a piece of white fabric that has a lot of sizing on it. And I just want
Mhm.
to show you the difference in what happens when you add water to it. So I'm just got a little thing of water here, so I'm just gonna drop it on. Can you see that bead of water just sitting on
Mhm.
the surface?
Yep.
Yeah. So that is what you don't want when you're painting fabric, because, you know, it's very hard for the, it's just, I can play hockey with that bead of water. It's not gonna work very well.
Mhm.
Those two, prepared for dyeing fabric, or just a nice clean piece of fabric that's been washed. Can you see? I don't know if you can see how that
Yep. It just absorbs in.
goes right in. Yeah, right. So I'm just going to show you a couple different ways that you can use Inktense. And you can see already here that I have some already painted swatches. This was probably blended on a damp, like a damp fabric with water.
Mhm.
Added some pencil lines to it, so it just depends upon how you apply it, but I'm going to give you a couple different ways to apply it. So I got a couple small brushes here. I've got this heat medium. This is going to be upside down for you. There, how's that? I don't know why it's flipping everything around. And my trusty aloe vera gel. Doesn't matter what kind. And I'm just going to start with water first. So I'm just going to paint on some water and show you what it does on damp fabric. Okay, so that's damp to the touch. And just gonna use this green here, I guess. So I can also wet the tip of my pencil. And then I can also take my brush and spread it. And you can see with water, you don't have a lot of control over where it's going. It's going to
Mhm.
continue to blend and bleed. And sometimes you want that effect, especially if you're blending colors. Just take some yellow here. And this is particularly useful for doing skies. As you can see, well, normally you wouldn't have a sky this color, but you can see that that's going to give you a nice soft blended effect.
Mhm.
We got somebody who wants to come into the meeting. Here we go, admit. Okay, so that's one way to use them. Another way to use them is my preferred method right now, which is aloe vera. So I'm just going to put a little, normally I would just put a little on a tray or something, but I'm just going to dump it right on the fabric here. And let's say I've got an object and I want to make a shadow. So I'm going to use my charcoal gray, if I can find it. There it is, charcoal gray. So that it's a little bit damp there. I'm going to maybe add a little bit of water to that just to. And I'm just going to blend that with the aloe vera. So that'll make a nice soft shadow, but it won't bleed a whole lot, which is nice. It'll kind of stay put. It's a little greenish because I had green on my brush. I need to clean my brush. And it's always good to have paper towels nearby. Okay. All right, and the third way I want to show you is with this fabric medium, I'm just gonna put a little bit on my tray. And I'm going to, there's a couple ways you can do this too. Let's use a red this time. So I can just dip my pencil in there. And I can do, and this will activate the paint as well, the ink. But I have a little more, it will also lighten the color just a little bit. So sometimes I want that and sometimes I don't. So if I want just the pure color, I'm going to use the aloe vera. Okay, so that's red with the fabric medium. Now I'm just going to use a little bit of this. And here's another way you can do it. You can dip your pencil in there and just start to make some color right into the aloe vera.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've made sort of a little bit of a paint that I can use.
Yeah.
And of course, you always want to test on a swatch to see what you get. And okay, so maybe that's nice, but it also dries lighter every time. So I'm going to just deepen that up a little bit. I just love all the different effects you can get with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. And say I want to make a darker red, I can just blend that in with that charcoal gray. There's a lot of ways you can use these paints.
Do you usually put it directly on the fabric, or do you mix the color off the fabric and then add it to the fabric?
It depends what the effect I want is. Like if I'm just using like a dry pencil
Mm-hmm.
on the fabric, I'm gonna get lines. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's just use this fabric medium because it's there. The lines are gonna stay. So sometimes I want that, like say I'm gonna make a leaf. What do I do with that pencil?
Right.
All right, so say I want to do a leaf. And I want the veins to kind of stay. This is fabric medium, but I could just as easily use aloe vera. You see? So it just depends on what you want to do. I can mix the paint on there or I don't have to. I can also put aloe vera, just a blob of aloe vera on my tray. Blech, come on out. Almost time to get some more. But I love the colors that come out. They're nice and clear. And then also it doesn't change the hand of the fabric that much when it's dry. So it's much easier
Mm-hmm.
to quilt through than textile paints. Okay, so I'm going to brush some aloe vera on the fabric first. And I'm doing that a lot when I'm creating shadows. But let's say I want to do another leaf. But just use aloe vera. I can still do that, can't I? But I can also just color it in all the way on one side. But still, those original lines are going to show up a little bit more, but not as much. So you really, I guess the bottom line is you just have to experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
see,
I love Inktense
oh
pencils
yeah,
and chocolate. Hi, Vicky. I love them. I think they're wonderful, and the
There's
chalks
also
are amazing.
the, the, the blocks are great too, because you can mix up larger amounts of color
Mm-hmm.
if you want to do a bigger area. So I'll put a bigger blob of aloe vera on there and I'll just scrape off some powder using my knife, scrape it off
Mm-hmm.
and mix it all up. And then when I get the look I want, I just brush it onto the slightly dampened fabric or dry fabric, just again, depending upon what's the look you want. But if I'm doing a sky like this is
Mm-hmm.
probably a test I did for my one of my classes. And that's something you can do and mix up larger batches of color. Now, the only thing I don't like about Inktense is there isn't really a way to render white. I mean, that's a little bit white, but it's not really going to cover any fabric. If you need to cover fabric and make white or a pastel color, then I still rely on my white opaque paint for that. So I'll show you how I do that. So I'll just take a little bit of white. You can mix this with aloe vera or fabric medium, either one. And this little blob of red that I had here, I'm just going to put in some white paint. And then I'm going to dilute it a little bit. So I'm making a really pale pink. Can you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a skin tonish.
yeah, whoops, there's a blob of white on there. And I can make it as diluted as I want it, or maybe I want to make a little bit of a, oops. Okay, so just take a tiny bit of that fuchsia color and then blend that into so that white will more or less cover whatever fabric is underneath it. Say you're not doing a whole cloth on white, say you're doing a landscape and you want to make a pastel color. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
still use the white for that. Any other questions about what I'm doing?
Mm.
But there's a million different effects you can get if you're just willing to play with it. Let me show you that technique I was talking about earlier. So, all right, I've got this already here, so I'm just gonna make a new color. I don't know what I'm gonna get yet. Let's see what I get. Sort of an olivey
Ooh,
green.
nice green.
Yeah, olivey green. Okay. Kind of thick, so I'd probably want to, but depends. If I want to cover the fabric, I might leave it that way. What happens if I put aloe vera in? Different quality to it. And it spreads easier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on dry fabric too, so I can also add water to this and blend if I want it softer. Or I can add more aloe vera if I don't want it to spread. So adding the aloe vera will thin it, but it won't allow it to bleed like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Water will. Okay, so I've added that. Now let's add a ton of water and see what happens. So I literally have no control over where that's going to go. I mean, it'll stop at some point, but I don't know where. So if control is important to you, don't use water. I guess is the moral of that story. But isn't that a lovely clear color? Now that's already starting to dry, and of course you would have to heat set all of these with your iron. But
Mm-hmm.
it will dry lighter, and so sometimes you're gonna have to go over it again a couple of times. Okay, any other questions?
Do you have to wash? Do you wash the fabric after you use the
No.
aloe on it?
No. You just heat set it with the iron. You will notice that I have plastic underneath my surface, right?
Mm-hmm.
See that red is sort of bled through. So you definitely want to cover your surface. All right, so what I have here is just a set of 24, which I've had for a long time, and you can see I haven't used them that much. And the blocks, a set of 12, and I can literally, along with the white paint, I can make any color I want, pretty much. So let me just set that aside for the moment. Where am I going to put you? I think also the Inktense products are relatively inexpensive and easy to get. So that's nice too. This is the sample for the class, the Inktense Mastery class that I'm going to plug a little bit. And it's upside down, so let me go around this way. Okay, so this section I did more of aloe with aloe vera and fabric medium. And I
Mm-hmm.
applied the yellow first. And then I added the darker colors and the oranges and reds. And then this section down here, I did all with Inktense and also some Pearl-Ex powders.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was just fused on. This is just fabric, the rocks and that kind of thing. But there's various ways of making lines and then blending, like this down here was kind of what I showed you just earlier, a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of ways that you can play with this, and I have a ton of video instruction in the course. And if you're a member of the Phoenix Art Quilts group, the link to sign up for the course is on there. And today is the last day for the early bird. So you get $65 for the whole course as opposed to $75. So if you're on the fence, this is the day to do it. And it's a really fun little course, and I think you'd learn a lot from it. And you'd end up with this beautiful Oregon coastline landscape, which is not quilted at the moment, but eventually I'm going to quilt it. And what I like about it is it's still fairly pliable. I'm going to turn it over on the back so you can see something interesting. I used some of the fabric medium in the sky, and you can see that sort of, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a different, there's a little bit of that acrylic feeling to it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas down here, there's very little of that. It's just the aloe vera. And it feels different to me. So that's just an aside. Okay. Any other questions before I switch cameras?
No.
Nope. Okay, then I will switch cameras. And go back to me. There we go.
By the way, I loved your ballerinas.
Oh, yes, that was very special. Thank you.
That was amazing.
Yes, they did a great job. We've been working on that for several months. I choreographed it. I picked the music to go with the quilt. And then we projected the quilt onto the backdrop, and it just was astonishing to see it all come together.
It was amazing.
Thank you.
It was it actually looked like a quilt when they
Yes.
were on stage.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
like
Some
they
people
were
have
part of the
said,
quilt.
some people have said, how did you make a quilt that big? It's like, I didn't. That would be quite a feat of engineering, but I didn't, no.
But it really did look like like they could have been an applique
Yeah,
silhouettes
yeah,
on that.
yeah,
It was just beautiful.
thank you. That was in the still photo. I have a few more things I want to share with you too, behind me.
And then I'm gonna have to take off in just like 2 minutes here.
All right, thank you for coming, Becky. This is a small quilt that is going to be a class sample also. And
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be mounted on a canvas, and I need y'all's opinion. It'll be mounted on a canvas like this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the white, or do you think I should paint it like a paler version of this coral color? What do you guys think?
I don't like the white.
You don't like the white? Okay.
Paint.
Paint it. Okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know. So this is a sample that I'm doing for a class in the fall. And it's making a small art quilt, exploring using the different stitches on your machine
Mm-hmm.
that go with the design.
Yeah.
So some of them I made a little longer, some of them I made a little smaller, etc. So just using up scraps. And then the other one is a secret gift that I can't show anybody yet. Okay.
You don't have to keep making me things.
So this is a quilt
Oh, that's fun.
that was manipulated digitally, the colors,
Mm-hmm.
the photograph. And you can see it's sort of like it's like an airplane.
Yeah, I can see the airplane clearly.
Okay,
It's a
good.
bi-wing.
Yeah,
Or no, it's single wing.
yeah. And this is my significant other. So
How adorable.
I can't say a lot about it because it's going to be a gift and he's in the other room. So I have to be very.
All righty, I have to take off.
Thank you for coming
Try to
back.
get my shoulder in
All right.
back
I
in
hope
working
I
order.
can fix it for you.
All righty, bye-bye.
Take off. So that's it for me. That's all I have to share. Does anyone else have anything they would like to share to inspire the group? How are you, Vicky? What are you up to these days? Can you hear me, Vicky?
I was muted.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm working on portraits right now.
Horses.
Portraits.
Portraits. Oh, good. Portraits. Is there anything you can share with us?
Well, it's across the room. I don't know whether I can get it on the camera or not. Let me see. Okay,
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
that's my oldest granddaughter.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. And can you tell us a little bit about how you got to this point?
Um, well, I started quilting in 1967,
Uh-huh.
but I was an art major in school, and for many years I had gone back to painting. However, arthritis makes it difficult to hold a brush for very long anymore.
Yeah.
So I've gone back to quilting, and I'm trying to incorporate what I did when I painted
Yes.
in my quilting.
Well, you can definitely see that you know what you're doing in terms of value and contouring and all of that with the portrait that you're doing. And what techniques did you use to?
I'm using fused raw
Okay,
edge.
okay. And are you using I forget how you say it, like um a black, white, and gray enlargement to
I
work?
have grayscale photograph on the wall behind, on my design wall behind it, with a piece of parchment paper over top of it.
Okay.
I'm working through that.
Okay, so you're tracing the,
I'm using that for my general layout, just
Yeah.
so I have an idea where to put things. And
okay,
then drafting table, like the hands, I constructed the hands at my drafting table and then took them over, put them
oh,
on.
yeah, it's beautiful. What kind of fusible do you like to use?
I like steam a seam.
Okay,
I like it because I can reposition it.
yes. How do you find it? Do you, when you quilt with it, do you have a problem with it?
Um, I used to, however, I've gone to the non-stick needles.
Hmm,
And since I switched to them for thread painting and quilting on that, I haven't had any issues with it.
okay. So a nonstick needle is made by which
I
manufacturer?
like chances.
Schmetz?
Mm-hmm.
And what, and does it say is it Teflon or is it, what is it?
Let me look and see.
Okay. These are
This,
the kind of questions people want to know. Drop it down a little bit lower. We can't see.
I'll show you the back.
Non-stick. Quality without compromise. Okay. But it's probably coated with Teflon, I'm guessing.
I believe it is a Teflon coated, and as you can see, I buy them by the hundreds,
Yeah.
and I get them directly from Schmet's website.
Oh,
I find
cool.
it cheaper from them than anybody else.
Okay. That's a good tip. Thank you for that. Because I know a lot of people really like Steam Seam too, and I have not used it because I like Misty Fuse, but that repositional thing is really useful, isn't it?
Yeah, the one that I'm working on now is only lightly tacked
Uh-huh.
to parchment, but if I want to take it off, I can take it off and move it some way
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Kathy and Debbie, have either one of you used Steam Seam too for your work?
I use Steam Steam too because when I put on the other, um, I can't see if it's on the back side of the fabric or not.
Uh-huh.
So you have to kind of go by feel once you iron it on.
Okay.
My problem is, if anybody has a suggestion, is that sometimes the iron leaves black spots a little bit on like a white. And I don't know how to get rid of it. Or you can see the glue on the fabric itself, not just on white on anything.
On the back of the fabric or on the front of the fabric?
On the front of the fabric, on
Okay.
the art part.
Okay, is that because your iron is dirty?
That
It
would be
could be,
because
pardon?
I've had that issue with it.
Me
You
neither.
do or don't.
She's never had that issue, she says. One thing you want to do when you're using fusible web is whatever you are ironing, I would always put a Teflon sheet or a parchment sheet over your project and then iron it and then take that off and then clean it off with something rough. So there aren't any bits of fusible sticking to it.
With the
Okay.
steam, though, you need the steam to get down into the
Yeah.
product.
Yeah,
So a lot of times we'll press it on the reverse side instead of the front.
okay.
If I'm just doing a small piece, I'll have parchment behind it and press it on the parchment. But when I'm going on my background, I'll press it on the background side so that if my iron spits or anything, it's not actually on the design.
Mm,
And I'm getting the steam in. The more you steam it, the less problems you have with the adhesive on your needle.
mhm. That's a good tip too. I know for myself, my iron sometimes gets little bits of fusible on it and I will, before I use it again, I'll just take a piece of white fabric that's junk fabric, and I'll just run my iron over it and it's amazing how those little bits and bobs can get on your iron even though you're being careful.
I
So,
use a piece of felt,
yep,
a little bit rough.
that's a good idea. Yeah, I use those little kitchen scrubbies, these little plastic to clean off my Teflon in between. But I like pressing it from the back as well. That's a good tip. Yeah. Debbie, have you ever used Steam-A-Seam, or are you? more
I
of a-
mostly use Steam-A-Seam.
You do, okay.
Yep.
And do you also use the coated needles?
I do use the coated needles, but I still keep some rubbing alcohol and cotton swabs at my long arm so I can clean off the gum, because every once in a while you'll still get a bit on it.
Yeah,
Well, I have a bottle of alcohol and a little sponge-like thing at my machine that if I see anything, then I just wipe the needle down.
yeah. I'd be afraid that that would get inside my machine. But no,
Alcohol evaporates so fast, I don't think it's an issue.
not the alcohol, the glues.
Yeah, I'm afraid of that too. That's why I'm constantly wiping my needle if I see any kind of buildup on my needle.
Yeah, okay.
I've been using Steam-A-Seam since like 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Had an issue with that.
Okay. Good to know. Well, I will have to try it someday and see if, do a little experiment. How do I like this product versus the Misty Fuse? I don't, the other thing I love about Misty Fuse is it doesn't change the hand of the fabric that much. It's very light. So that's a plus with that
Now,
for me.
with what I'm doing, it's meant to hang on a wall, and once sometimes I quilt them so heavily or paint them so heavily that it's going to do it anyways.
Right.
So it really doesn't affect it.
Okay. Good to know. Well, cool. Let me think. What else did I want to share with you? I think that was it. I want to do the demo, and I did. And I shared with you those pieces. Is there anybody have any questions about anything else that they want to hit me with? Debbie, what are you working on at the moment? Are you working on that, anything, or are you just working on dog stuff?
I have a commission for a dog one I'm doing right now.
Oh, and you
And
can't.
our
ship
big
it, huh?
national show is here locally in a couple weeks, so I've had to pack my stuff up to ship it.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So you can't share anything. Oh, darn.
No. And yeah, you're not allowed to publicly share anyway after you've been voted in, so.
Yeah, but your work is beautiful. I've seen it. It's very beautiful. She does great pet portraits. Maybe it's something about being with the dogs, huh? All the
Yes,
time.
I'm at one with the dog.
You're at one with the dogs, right? Okay, well, if anybody has anything else to share, now is the time to do it. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up early. And I'll put the recording on the Phoenix Art Quilts group. And I hope this was somewhat useful. Vicki, you didn't see the whole demo, did you?
No, I didn't. I was moving furniture and just happened to open Facebook, and there it
Oh.
was. And
Okay, well, I'll put the recording so you can watch that too, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, today is the last day for the early bird discount if you are interested in the Inktense Mastery course. So the price drops from 75 to 65, and you would just use the early bird 2024, all lower cap when you check out. And that's going to do it for me, but thank you for coming, and I hope it was useful. Please tell your friends for next month, and I will see you online soon.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.